we're missing one of the musketeers now. The only one we haven't seen is good old Scar. Now, I think there might be a lion on the other side of the river that's roaring, and they might be able to see it. I'm going to swing around shortly and have a look. Remember, this is 100% live from the Masai Mara in... Oh, they're roaring again, the females. Okay, something is definitely up here. This is very interesting behavior. It could be the rest of the pride, and that's very, very simple. So they're calling to the rest of the pride. They're the other side of the river. Remember, this is coming to you 100% live from the Masai Mara in Kenya, and we're with the Paradise Pride and one of the musketeers. Oh, cub and male. So there we go. A young male cub was getting a little bit too friendly with the big boy, and gave them a bit of a. Well, how's your father? Oh, these musketeer boys are magnificent. And I know some of you will notice the one female is sporting quite a fresh gash on her cheek. That could be from mating or fighting. Okay, guys, we've got to move. So, Sibu is wondering, how frequently do lions hunt and feed? It all depends on the size of the prey that they catch, Sibu. So, Sibu, if they can catch something every day, they will, but they will just eat themselves into an absolute food coma. And they're able to eat up to about 15 kilograms of meat in a single sitting. Well, I think they might even try cross the river. I just want to get down to the crossing. And, hi guys. So we're just going to scoop around to the direction they're heading. So I'm going to be away from them for a few minutes. Now, I think the rest of the pride might be on the other side of the river. So we might have lions coming to our side or our lions going to the other side. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And so, Sibu, it all depends on what they eat. Normally, every 2 to 3 days, depending on the size of the prey that they catch. So if they catch a buffalo, also the size of the pride. Big prides need to eat far more frequently than small prides, just sheer numbers that they have to feed. So they are heading in this direction. I just want to have a quick look if any of the crocs are up. Now, from a lion's point of view, it's a good day to cross the river because it's quite cold, so the big crocodiles are less likely to be as active, although I do see quite a lot of them in the river. So I'm just waiting to see which direction they're going to go before I decide to stop. Anna Marie says, I just love the vocalization of the lions. It's so cool to listen to. Indeed it is. Now they're on the move. They're still looking to the other bank. And I'm trying to hear if I can hear any contact calls from the other side of the river. You can see that they're roaring, but I don't think you're going to be able to hear it with this very strong wind until they get a bit closer. Okay, so you can hear it. Now, this Paradise Pride is quite a big pride. There's 9 different adult females that I've seen in the pride. So we've only got... Oh, there we go again. Becca would like to know, how big is a typical Mara lion pride? Well, Becca, it all depends on the area. The prides around the river seem to be a bit bigger normally, especially around the crossing. Oh, there we go. Around the crossing areas, but it's, I would say, 5 to 10 females and their cubs. Okay, let's move again a little bit. It'll be interesting to see where she goes from here. You will see other vehicles around enjoying this incredible sighting as well. Now, I don't think she's going to try cross where the wildebeest cross, where it's deeper. I think that if the lions do try cross the river, it is going to be probably in the shallower areas around the rapids. Oh, cubs playing. I think she's going to walk past this area. So this is where wildebeest often cross and zebra, but it is quite a deep crossing and lots of crocodiles. Now Beck is wondering, how often do the lions cross the rivers? Well, as often as they want. It all depends on prey availability. So they will cross the rivers depending on what food is around. Or pressure from other lions could lead them to cross, but normally in this area at the moment they're not really under too much pressure. Bit of scent marking. Roaring again. Okay, we're going to shoot round. We might lose them, however, as they go around this edge here, but we will try stick with them as long as possible. Now, remember, we are live from the African bush, and also if you have any questions, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter is the best way to get hold of us. So we're going to leave the male for now. We're going to stick with the females who are up to something. Cat Mama and many others are worried about the crocodiles and the lions. Well, that's part of nature. The lions will sometimes be eaten by the crocodiles, but now after the migration, let's hope it's a cold morning that the crocodiles are full and not wanting to move in this cold weather. There's still quite a lot of zebra around that we're driving past. We're going to try to stick with the lions though. Just lost sight of them. Oh no, I've still got them. There we go. Okay. So just keep moving around. You still see them, Dave? Or have they ducked into the river? Oh no, they're still there, opposite us. Okay, we've still got them. Now there are some croton thickets around here that might make it a little bit difficult for us to see where they're going. Just lost sight of them now. A little bit to the right. There we go. That's where I last saw them disappearing into the thicket. Aria would like to know, will male coalitions come back to try and take over their birth pride? Not normally, Aria, and there's a reason for that. You don't want them mating with their mothers and sisters and etc. So generally when male coalitions are pushed off, they're pushed off sometimes 3 or 4, sometimes 10 territories over before they are able to set up their own territory. Okay, now I wonder if the lion's going to try cross where we can't see them. That would be unfortunate. Okay, they are moving. I'm going to keep moving around. Just have a quick squiz backwards. Dave, you're a bit higher than me. You see anything? Not yet. Okay. So unfortunately we are in the high usage zone, which means we don't off-road here. It's also due to the soils being a bit sensitive here, and we can do quite a lot of damage by driving off-road here. I'm going to see if they're going to pop out the other side of the Croton thicket. Well, the cold, windy weather is giving us active lions. I'm hoping they're going to pop out on the other side of this Croton thicket shortly. If they don't, however, well, we'll see what else we can find. In the meantime, while I'm bundled up in my blankets, let's go back to sunny Djuma with Tristan.
Well, we are in some glorious sunshine, Brent Smith. It is a wonderful experience to have sunshine after a few days of horrible, cold, cloudy weather. And at least, well, it's making your lions be active. That's a good news situation. Now, we've been tracking these two Birminghams all the way from where we had the hyenas earlier. They came all the way now over Buffelshoek Dam Wall, and Rexa says he can see the tracks on Cheetah Cut Line. So the chances of us finding them are probably not very good anymore, because I think that they've probably crossed into Torchwood, which yes, I think they have, and so that's not ideal news for us. The thing is though, is we did have track for a very small female leopard. It's a tiny little leopard track that we found very close to where we saw the cheetah yesterday afternoon and where the male lions drank. So it seems as though that little water where the cheetahs drank in the morning, afternoon, where in the morning the lions drank there, and this tiny female leopard has, I don't know who it is. Obviously it's just a track and it's very difficult to tell who that could be, but it's a fresh track from this morning. It's nice and clean, and so I've been looking around just trying to find some sort of sign, and Buffelshoek Dam was where I thought maybe we would find, you know, the tracks coming out, but nothing that I can see there. Unfortunately, Rex already drove ahead of me, and so I'm not 100% sure where she's kind of gone from the last track itself. It doesn't look like anything crosses Buffelshoek boundary, so maybe she's gone into this deep thicket and is walking along the drainage section. So I might just scratch around here a little bit more and just see what I can find. It's a pity the two males went into Torchwood. I was hoping they were going to settle somewhere around Buffelshoek Dam, and when their tracks were coming towards the dam, I thought, well, we would be in for those two male lions to be sitting there, but alas, they've probably crossed, like I say, into Torchwood, and they've probably gone quite deep in, and maybe they've gone to go meet up with the Nkuhuma Pride. That would be about right, I would imagine. So maybe that's why also the Nkuhumas haven't come back our side just yet. But interesting nonetheless. Like I say, I have no idea which leopard could be walking around there. At first I thought it might be Tundi, but the tracks are tiny, they're very small, so I'm not 100% sure who this is. It might be her. Maybe I'm just kind of thinking that they're smaller than they are after following male leopard tracks around and male lion tracks. I suppose your perception of size when you're following a male lion track to a small female leopard, it always seems that much smaller. So it could be Tundi. We know Tundi has moved around in this section before, but I don't know. It just looks very small to me, and maybe there's a leopard from Buffelshoek, who knows, that Herbie often refers to, or maybe there's something else going on, so who knows. I was secretly hoping it was going to be Shongile's tracks and she was going to be lying at Buffelshoek Dam, but it seems as though there is no sign of a leopard there, and with male lions walking around, it would be a clever leopard not to go towards Buffelshoek Dam at the moment. Although I suppose the lions have gone, so she could go there. But let's just check very carefully, quickly around this area, because maybe we get lucky. Now, I believe Jamie Patterson has got something that I wish we saw a lot more of here. I believe there was two of them recently on Arathusa airstrip, so maybe we'll see them here on Djuma. But they are a bit of the mad scientist looking bird with the crazy headdress, so enjoy.
It's the lovely thing about being out in the Mara is that although you could definitely see a secretary bird on Djuma, it is really special to see them as regularly as we do out here, out in the open. Oh, stamp, 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 get it! What did you catch? Some kind of insect. And of course, those legs are the secretary bird's primary weapon when it comes to its hunting technique. And sitting watching them over a period of time is truly fascinating. The way that they kick and they stamp the insects that they're after, and then only then will they reach down and try and grab it. See? Stamp, stamp, grab. Those almost stilt-like legs makes them innately interesting to watch. I was going to say comical, but they're not quite comical. Okay, they're a bit comical. That was a bit comical. Nancy, you say, yay, you love these birds. I love these birds too. They are... I would love to actually spend a really long period of time with them. I've never had the opportunity so far, but I'm sure it will happen. Especially if we manage to find, and we know where there's some nests, but if we find a pair with an egg, maybe watch them raise their chicks, I think that they're really fascinating to watch. And I was going to say something else, and now I've completely forgotten what it was. Oh, one thing I really also want to see is a battle between a secretary bird and a snake. Our Taylor's lucky. She's come the closest to something similar, which is when she had the python and the crowned cranes. That was with you, Seb?
Yes.
That was spectacular.
Yeah. Very nice sighting.
It was a really unique sighting. Oh, where are we going? What'd you get? Get it! Get it! Quickly! Oh! Oh, oh! Go, go, go! Go, go, go! Yes, you definitely need to hold your wings out. That's definitely going to make life easier. I think they overbalance if they don't when they're running like that. What was that all about? Did you miss it? Ah, sorry. You win some, you lose some. Some kind of grasshopper maybe, or flying insect. Fiercely focused as it glances down onto the ground. Okay. Caught another little one. So their primary diet will be insect-based, but they are snake killers. Now, Sammy Jane, you wanted to know about how tall these birds get. They're quite long-limbed, they're quite tall. They belong in a family all of their own. Let me just show you something. I want to see what their call sounds like. I want to see if there's a call in here. So they can actually go up to 1.5 meters in terms of their height. They won't be that tall because they crouch slightly, but about 1.5 meters is how tall a secretary bird can get. This is what they sound like. They sound like frogs. Very comic. Described by the writers of this book as long, low, burping growls. So, no literal reading of bird calls today. Long, low, burping growls. Oh, he, I'm not sure which, is escaping. Better go and catch up with it. Okay, we're racing off after our secretary bird. We might spend a bit more time with it. Let's go across to Brent, who I think has had success in refinding his lions.
Well, we actually we found a single lioness on the other side of the river, the one that they're obviously calling to, walking down the opposite bank. She's just disappeared into some thickets, so we're watching some hippos while we wait for her to pop out again. And if you see any spots on the lens, we do apologize. It is drizzling a little bit, so it has turned from foul windy weather to truly, there she is, truly foul windy weather. There we go. That's the one who's been calling to the others on the other side. And when we can see her a bit better, there's a very good reason why she isn't crossing the river. And I'm hoping the rest of the pride's going to join us from behind us. Now, once we get to see her as she moves out from behind that little bank, it looks like she's got young cubs. And that's probably the main reason why she has not crossed the river with the rest of them. So there we go. I can see suckle marks on her teats. So I'm pretty sure that she's got young cubs, and that's why she isn't joining the rest of the pride on the other side of the river. Sorry, Megs, we are just having a bit of problems there again. Can you go again with that question? Becca's wondering, what is the biggest threat to lion cubs? Becca, it is other lions, in particular male lions. They are the ones that will kill cubs most frequently, nomadic males or males coming to try to take over a territory. Now, she's continuing to walk. She's going to pop out again on the other side of this little bush. But I'm almost 100% certain that's what caused the lions we're with earlier to react. I think she started roaring. Oh, quickly across to Tristan.
So, unfortunately, I've got no comms at the moment, but we're trying to race after a honey badger. So we had a honey badger in front of us that VM managed to see, and I also managed to see it, but now I've lost it, and it was running straight in this direction. So we're just trying to kind of move through here. The problem is the grass is getting long now, so it's going to be really difficult to spot it, but we're just looking. Maybe it's worth just stopping for a second. So VM was the one that saw it the second time, but it's not a very big animal, so at the end of the day you've got a small little back that's quite dark in coloration, and we're just trying to kind of spot around here and see if we can see it. But it was a fleeting glimpse of a honey badger that we had. Unfortunately, it seems as though it's gone. Oh no. Let's just keep trying here, Via. Maybe we get lucky. It's just the grass has gotten quite long now, so where the grass is short, it makes life easy because the little honey badger stands out. But when the grass gets longer like it is now, it's a little harder to see, and he was quite far ahead of us at one point, so it's difficult to be able to see where he's gone now. It's also getting much thicker. Liam, you see anything? Negative. Maybe he went into this mound. There's a mound here with a big hole. Could have gone in there. No, I don't think we're going to find him, unfortunately. That's sad, because I was hoping that we were going to get to see him, because he was kind of running around and moving in this sort of long grass and in these thickets. But anyway, exciting stuff. It was cool to see. So honey badgers are really a tough animal for us to find. They're not an animal that's easy to see in any way, shape or form, and so that's a super cool thing to see out here. Unfortunately, we just couldn't get it on camera. Oh well, at least VM can corroborate that I saw one, because at first I said, VM, I think I just saw a honey badger, and then we couldn't see anything, and then VM spotted it up ahead of us again. Oh well, like I say, this termite mound is probably where it went into. There's a lot of holes here, and this is where it was heading. It ran straight to this termite mound, and they'll know exactly where they're going, so they know where to head in order to escape danger, because obviously they'll have things like lions and leopards and all kinds of other things that do chase them around, and so that's why they then move off quite quickly. But it's a pity, because we had a brief glimpse of it out in this open section, and then it ran towards this area. If it had just stayed here, it would have been perfect, because we would have been able to show all of you a beautiful honey badger. Oh well, that was a nice surprise, VM. Let's try and just get over this big bump. There we go. Now I've got to try and find my way to the road again. I was in all my excitement, I just went smashing into the bush and actually forgotten which way I've headed, but I think if I go this way I should be fine. But I wonder what that honey badger was up to. It seemed to be trotting around, just kind of looking for things, as they do. They are animals that do this. They go through and kind of look for all kinds of things and scratch around, and you know, it's a coolish morning like I was saying, so for a number of the sort of nocturnal animals, you can see them moving when it's cooler like this. Right, now I'm going to make my way towards a road, and while I do that, I believe Brent Leo Smith is on the banks of the beautiful Mara River, and well, I'm a little bit jealous because I really miss my rivers. It's been a long time since I've spent time at a river.
Okay, well, that lioness has moved away from the river up into these croton thickets, so it means she probably has the cubs somewhere in this area. So we've lost sight of her, so I'm going to head back towards where the rest of the pride was coming from. And again, apologies if you get a few little splatters on the lens. This one cloud is raining on us. It's a very naughty cloud. Can't wait till the end of the safari. No, it has to rain now. Just want to see if I can catch one last glimpse of that lioness, but she has moved away. So the rest of the pride were over there. Let's see if they've come down. Proud Cat Mama says, do I think they'll eventually reunite with each other? Not eventually, I think quite soon. Lion prides in the Mara quite often operate slightly different to what you're used to in the Sabi sands. They'll often split up from time to time and go in certain directions and spend some time by themselves, or 2 or 3 here, 4 or 5 over there, 1 over there. And a lot of that's due to the prey availability, and especially in areas where they've got a nice settled dominant coalition. It's sometimes easier to go have a meal by yourself than to share. Hang on. What are you? No, don't worry. No, false alarm. Okay. Now, even though they were calling to each other like they wanted to join, it doesn't mean they're going to join right now. They might join later today. They might see a crocodile at a crossing and decide, no, hang on, let's wait till there's no crocodiles. Or so it all just depends. But they will definitely join up again. Let's have a look if the rest of the pride's popped out of that thicket we lost them in. It is not warm today. Is that another lion over there? Just give me a second. I thought I might have seen another lioness on the other side of the river. Let me just go through here. It's quite far away. And is it? We need to just get past the bush. Bouncy. It is not another lioness. But you can see there's a very good reason why they wouldn't want to cross at the same place as the wildebeest cross. Well, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 very good reasons why not to cross right here. Some very big crocodiles out, trying to get as much warmth as possible from the little sun we are getting this morning. That is a particularly big one there that Dave's on. Okay, crocodile going into the wall. Oh, he went too fast for us. Sorry, Dave. There he goes. But anyway, we're going to go see if we can see the rest of the pride. That is a big crocodile. Can you get that one, Dave? That is a massive. That's bigger than any of the others on the bank. And you can just judge by the head size. Who's up for a swim? Dave? After you. Okay, let's go to Jamie, who's not next to water, but she's next to a forest.
Well, I suppose the forest is close to the river. I mean, the Mara's just through this massive tree line. This is one of my favorite roads in this area because it takes you right along the densest part of the Mara River itself. I wish there was a road in there, but I understand why there isn't. It'd be very tricky to create one without having to move trees and windy, but it would be so nice if we could just go in there. Now, we're investigating the case of the vanishing hyena, because we were quite far away and we saw a hyena with 2 older cubs, and then we drove round and she's gone. And my only conclusion is that she's hiding she's lying down and she's hiding somewhere behind a termite mound, because I don't think I missed her dashing into the trees. I could be mistaken. I might have been looking at the road or something, but I don't think she did. So I'm very confused as to how on earth we managed to lose 3 hyena. I'm also wondering if she doesn't have a den somewhere here that they've disappeared under. But I don't see anything, and I don't see any... It's very strange. By now we should have spotted her. Haha. Because she's got spots. No. There. Is that her? Is that her head? Is that... Roshni, we don't name the hyena clans. I think that's her. Yeah, there we go. So she was lying down, wallowing, just like Seb suggested she was. Roshni, we don't name them, but the researchers do. This is one of the areas where hyenas are most intensely studied, and for very good reason. The clans are so massive that, to increase our understanding of the way that they work is very, very important. So all of the matriarchs of the different clans are collared, but not all of them have been given names because the researchers don't always study particular clans. So this hyena would probably... I actually don't know which clan this hyena would belong to. It's difficult to say. I don't think she would belong to the North Clan, the South Clan, or the Happy Zebra Clan. Not Happy Zebra Clan. Happy Zebra Clan. There's also the Talik Clan. There's a clan around Musiara Marsh. What is wrong with me? I can't say consonants today. They've all gone wrong. She definitely had 2 little ones with her, which makes me wonder if maybe they haven't ducked under somewhere. I can't see them anymore. Oh wait, yes I can. Yes I can, hold on. Oh cute, I can just see their heads, hold on. I've just got to go a bit further forward for you, Seb. There, on the right of her. Yeah. I can see 2 youngsters. Here we go. Look at that. Right out in the open. Close to the old Jupata Marsh. And they are moving about with Mum. It would be interesting to know why she's moved them out, though. It could be that she's a low-ranking female and she's taking them somewhere. Joe, it does look like they're playing hide-and-seek with us, doesn't it? No wonder they vanished in the way that they did. It was just because she lay down. I wonder where she's come from and what her story is and why she's got these 2. They're old enough now to be wondering about, and generally the sub-adult hyena cubs of low-ranking hyena female be out and about from the den earlier than those belonging to the high-ranking females, and that's because the low-ranking females can't take them food. So that they actually have to actively take them to the kills that are around. It might be... Hello, you. Yes, Mischief. Yes, Mischief. Yes, we're looking at you. You only just realized, haven't you? Fluffy. So fluffy. Because it's cold here. Oh, so... 7-8 months-ish? From what I can tell at this distance. Makes more sense. Tucked up against the wind. And the wind is really truly howling. It makes days like today slightly trickier because everything's nervous, everything's jumpy, and everything just wants to run away from us. Birding is almost impossible because the birds hide. They're not out in the open. But now that we've figured out and solved the mystery of the hyenas, I'm going to go and search for the leopards. Robert, just before we go, you say that you really appreciate hyenas' intelligence when we watch them. I find of there's a couple of very intelligent animals that we see out here, but we know scientifically that hyenas are very high up there in terms of their problem-solving abilities, and anybody who's ever lived in the bush will know that to be true because we've all had them come wandering through camp. But it's not just that, it's their social communication. And Robert, I don't know if I've mentioned this while you've been watching, because I tell it a few times, but they did basically to understand the intelligence of the animals. They did a few tests with them, where with tame hyenas basically, and with chimpanzees and a couple of different animals. The puzzle was that there was a piece of meat on a platform, and the only way that it could be released was for the ropes to be pulled in opposite directions. So the chimps solved it faster than the hyenas, but the hyenas were not far behind. Then what they did was they took one individual that knew the puzzle and swapped it out with another individual that did not. And in the space of a few seconds, the hyenas somehow had communicated to the other exactly what needed to be done in order to solve it. And there's all sorts of things. Kevin Richardson with his hyena has given them problems to solve and watched the way that they do it. And it depends on their rank and it depends on their position. For example, they had a young male that knew the answer to a puzzle, and the rest of to get some meat, and the rest of the hyenas were released, and the young male went and sat in the corner and pretended he didn't know anything. And when the other hyenas had disappeared off, then he went forward and he helped himself, solved the box puzzle and helped himself to the reward, which is lovely. But they're very, very intelligent, and when they look at you, you can see the intelligence. They're also very, very naughty, which I happen to like. Okay, off we go on search of more exciting things on the banks of the Mara River, or close to the banks of the Mara River. Let's return across to South Africa to Tristan, because he's got some tiny antelope.
I do have tiny antelope. They are very, very cute and very well camouflaged as well. So you can see the one standing up on the left, but if you look closely on the right, there's another one also lying down, and you can see why it's called a Steenbok. So Steenbok basically means a stone buck, if you want to call it that. And if you look behind that Steenbok that's lying down, there is a stone, and you can see if that Steenbok pops its head down and lies flat, it almost looks very similar, doesn't it? It appears to blend into its environment and look almost like a rock just next to another one. So that's how they camouflage and why they got the name like that. They often do spend time in areas that are a little bit more kind of rocky than what we have here in the sands, and you'll be able to kind of miss them quite quickly if it's a pile of rocks all together and that one is lying down. But male and female together, and remember they are monogamous, so once they pair like this, they are together for life, unless of course a predator comes along. If a predator comes along and chases them, then you'll find a situation that they will search out another mate, but otherwise it's always together with the same individual. And they are very territorial, so you'll find that these two will spend a lot of time in this general vicinity and stay around here all the time. And it's actually quite cool. You can see the grass going down that she just fed upon. And here she goes towards her male companion. Amazing camouflage though. Like I say, it really is incredible. From here, kind of the one walking around is easy to see, but the other one just blends in incredibly well. Very nice. Now unfortunately our lions did cross into Torchwood, and they met up with the Nkuma Pride. So the whole Nkuma Pride and two Birminghams with all the cubs are there, not far from the boundary. They're about, I would say, 600 to 700 meters apparently from the boundary itself. Unfortunately we just can't see them from that distance, so they hopefully will come towards Buffelshoek Dam at some stage during the day or this evening. It would be nice if they did, and I think that's maybe where they're going to head. And our female leopard track, well, we're still looking around now, just trying to see where it went from the last track that I had, which was not too far to the west of where I am now. So I'm heading back into the area for the last track, and just to give me a better idea, maybe it's gone north into Buffelshoek and then we won't worry about it, but you never know, maybe it's still lurking around this area. And the nice thing about female leopards is they generally are not as mobile as the males, so they generally don't move as far and as great a distance, and so if her tracks are still around here, there's a good chance that we might be able to still see her and find her in this general vicinity. Now this is exactly where we had the cheetah yesterday, so it's amazing to think that in 24 hours there's been all three of the big cats walking in the exact same place, and that all three of the big cats drank from the exact same little water point is pretty weird. So it's quite amazing sometimes how you get this congregation of animals all together. Right, now it seems like one member of our team who's not struggling to find male predators this morning is Brent Smith, and he believes he's still near the Mara River and has found himself yet another male lion to show all of you.
Well, we're back with the lions we were with originally that were scuttling towards the river. Now, the male, he's just chilling at the back of the two females and two cubs, but they look like they've decided that maybe they're going to cross later on today. So they're sitting, catching a bit of morning sun. Thankfully for us, the little bit of rain we had has gone away, and the other lions are almost so flat we can't even see them just behind her. You see them there, Dave? A little bit to the left. There we go. Now, Mayfield, who's 10 years old, would like to know how much does a lioness weigh. She weighs about 120 kilograms. So, oh, we're roaring again. Or one we can't see. Now that actually sounds like... Was it that lioness roaring, Dave?
I don't think so.
I think that sounded like maybe one of the two males we saw earlier coming from the other side. So let's go have a look around the next corner. As Tristan was saying, we really are not battling with predators this morning. So we had those two male lions earlier. So it's third male lion. So we're only missing one male, which is, of course, the legend, the beast, Scarface himself. Maybe he's going to make an appearance. I want to go see if those other two males are coming this way. They're about 1 kilometer from here, probably about 1.5 kilometers. Noisy lions this morning. Quite often roaring's done by this time of the day, but it seems like they're deciding it is time to keep roaring. I see some giraffe in the far distance that look like they might be looking at a lion. OD Farming is wondering, how does a lion join a coalition? Oh, by trial and error, unfortunately. So if they're quite young when they meet up with another coalition, then it's much easier for them to join, because they definitely have needs. And if there's two of you and two of them, it's a better combination. But as a single lion to join an already established coalition, it is very difficult. And each situation is different and it varies. So there's no one answer to that question. Now, Tommy's looking that way. That's where the roaring sounded like it came from. You can see all the giraffes in the distance there, looking up. Oh, at least the sun's fighting to come out. Hopefully it'll warm us up and the wind will decide to go away. Hi, Shelley. Shelley's wondering, when male lions take over pride, do they also kill the sub-adults? They do, Shelley, unless the only ones they won't kill are females of breeding age, so they've got to be adults. So only females over 2.5 years old will survive a coalition takeover, whereas if they are under that age, they will be killed. And quite often, lionesses could be killed, or just in defense of the youngsters. So it did sound like that audio was coming from somewhere about here. And it is quite difficult to pin place audio in a day like today when the wind is howling. And let's see if the giraffes can give us a hand. Oh, I think the giraffes weren't actually staring at a lion, they were just staring. Is that a lion? No, that's a termite mound. Now, of course, those lions could be moving through some of the thickets that we're not going to be able to see them. I'm just going to go up to the top of this hill and have a quick look. Now, the lions are being noisy this morning, but an animal that is noisy almost every morning and every evening is all around Jamie.
It's funny you should say that, because they just started making noise and then stopped as Brent was talking about it. So absolutely, baboons are exceptionally vocal, and we've been talking about mischief makers. Well, here you have the mischief makers in chief of the African wilderness. They really can be unbelievably naughty, also very intelligent creatures with very complex social structures and bonds between them. From the little ones learning and playing, watched over by the ever-present oligarchs, the big males of the baboon troops. So we found ourselves a troop of olive baboons, and they spend quite a bit of time around our camp. Now, one thing I've noticed about the baboons here is that they're not quite as cheeky as the baboons back in South Africa. But the ones in South Africa cause trouble absolutely throughout the country. They get very familiar and very comfortable with people quickly, and they learn all sorts of tricks, like opening windows, opening doors, how to frighten tourists who come and visit the beautiful countries of Africa, and occasionally how to jump into people's cars and steal food out of their hands. And on one very memorable occasion, one that jumped into a deck chair or a pool lounger and stole a woman's milkshake and then sat down next to her and poured it into its mouth. It was a bright pink milkshake as well. It was truly, it is a sight that sticks in my mind, and she was so flabbergasted that the two of them just sat there looking at each other. One baboon in a pool lounger and a woman in a pool lounger, and pink milkshake everywhere. Naughty, clever, and fascinating to watch. Of course, their ability to climb makes them burglars in certain areas, like in Cape Town, where they've learned to actually climb up into apartment buildings and climb through windows. When I was a child, oh sweet, when I was a child, I was terrified of baboons. And the reason that I was terrified of baboons was my cousin was bitten by one, and I've been mugged by baboons several times throughout my childhood, where they've come and grabbed something out of my hand or from right next to me. And of course, they're one of the few creatures out here that recognize a difference between a man and a woman in human beings. And they respond very differently. So I have spent many, many hours in my life shouting at or chasing monkeys and baboons away from something where they shouldn't be. And the response is always very subdued, and sometimes they've even chased me back. And then a man comes out and they immediately scatter and run away, and I find that dreadfully insulting. It's not acceptable. But they do. Primates do recognize men and women, and that's why in certain rescue centers, the people who are in charge of tending to the primates are very carefully chosen. And your body language and sex matters. Whether you're a man or a woman will matter depending on which animals you're working with. And of course, vocal. Although at the moment they are completely quiet. Very peaceful scene, enjoying the morning sun. It's been cold this morning, so they're actually spending a lot of time grooming and sunbathing. yes, I think they could. So Umkar's question is, could Chakma and olives interbreed? And I think that you'll probably find that they're close enough that they could, but they probably wouldn't. I love this grooming scene. This guy just looks so happy and so peaceful. All the girls out there, you know how wonderful it feels when somebody plays with your hair. Probably not looking for the same thing this baboon is doing. And generally speaking, it's done with hands only and not teeth. And they don't eat what they find in your hair. But you know how wonderful that feels. And for this baboon, this big male, being tended by the female, this is a really close bonding session. And the nice thing about male baboons, they don't really often commit infanticide, even if they're not related to the baby. Oh. Are we going to see the creation of a baby? Possibly. She's presenting her rear to him. She doesn't look too colourful or swollen, so it might not be that she's an estrus. But she was inviting him. And male baboons have favoured females that they develop relationships with, even when they have little ones that don't belong to them. There we go. So, Paula, to answer your question, a baboon's family structure is termed oligarchy. Oh, the little one racing in. So essentially what happens is you don't get one dominant male. You'll actually get a group of dominant males. And they won't be related, and they will occasionally fight, but they essentially have a relatively peaceful system. And they are in charge of defending the group. They will defend the group. They will chase leopards away from the rest of the group. They have canines as large as a male lion. So they really are massive and very, very strong and very defensive. There you go. There's a big boy. You can see the shape of his muzzle. Very thick and very powerful. And he's got that swagger to him. Now the oligarchs watch over the group, and then there's a group of unrelated females, up to 100. Sometimes even larger troops than that. And the females have their own hierarchy. They are obviously more affectionate to the females that are related to them. And then you get the groups of babies who are disciplined by the male baboons when they step out of line, but treated very gently as well. So the male baboons, even when they come in to a situation where they've just sort of joined the troop, what you'll find then is, as I was talking about earlier, they even adopt little ones. So if the mother's in a situation where the father's been lost and new oligarchs have taken over the troop, they won't kill the baby. They'll form a bond with her, and they'll actually look after that little one. And it works in their favor, because then the female will show preference in terms of her mating with them, which is quite lovely. They will also, in situations, what occasionally happens with baboons, if a female has a brand new baby, and especially if she's quite low in terms of the hierarchy of the baboon world, what sometimes happens is the babies get kidnapped by other broody females who try and take them away and cuddle them and give them affection. And that obviously distresses mothers, especially young mothers who haven't experienced this whole process. And then the oligarch who favors that female, the godfather, so to speak, will actually step in and discipline the female and return the little one to its mother. There's all sorts of complexities, and there's all sorts that we could learn if we had opportunities to sit with baboons for extended periods of time. I think we'd see the most fascinating interactions. Another animal that is very high up on the intelligence scale. It's interesting the dynamic between primates and human beings in terms of our connection on a family level. So you want to know if the male baboons see human males as a threat? Yes, I do. And I think that biologically, in terms of the interaction that we as human beings, as a species, have had with primates, as a historical in a historical fashion, it would have been the males of the human species that would have been the defenders of the family group or of the tribe or whatever it happened to be, and they would be the one in charge of chasing away the baboons. They might be the ones who hunt the baboons, whereas typically throughout Africa, women have taken on the role of gatherers. So they gather the food, they cook, they clean, or whatever else they do, but they generally are not hunters, whereas human males are. And I think that is ingrained in the consciousness of the male baboon's mind. And yes, absolutely, I think that the fact that they can recognize the difference between a man and a woman, there is more of a threat in their minds, ingrained within their instinct, than there is from a woman. And that is why often in primate centers, the people who work with the male animals tend to be women, because they don't present that same level of threat. Look at this, Seb, look at the one up in the tree there, the little one. It's on the tiniest little branch, and I am convinced at some point that is going to end badly for it. I mean, it barely looks like it should be supporting its weight. Picking berries, by the looks of things. There are even recorded cases, speaking of the oligarchs or the godfathers of a baboon group, there are even cases where male baboons have worked together to hunt baby antelope. So they are omnivores, and they do have very powerful teeth, and they do have a taste for meat. And recently a baboon killed a goat on the mountain where we live. Out we go, tumbling down. All right, so from an animal with a very complex social structure, let's send you back across to Brent, who is still with lions, who of course have really a rather simple one.
Well, look at this. There's a little cub chasing a big male giraffe. It's the same lions. They've now made their way almost to the...
So unfortunately, there was a few gremlins, and just at the wrong time by the sounds of things, as a sub-adult male was chasing around those giraffe. Hopefully we'll get Brent back fairly shortly and everything will be restored in the world. Now I tracked those little female leopard tracks towards Nyala Road north, and so they come into this kind of drainage section. It's a very dense, thick area. There's a number of Nyalas. Hello girl, good morning. She looks quite relaxed actually. It's just taking it very easy next to us right here. So they come into this area, but it's very dense and thick, and I need to walk for a while to probably try and find her. But the tracks are very fresh. I could find where she urinated, and it was still, the ground was still wet where she urinated, and so and the tree itself that against which she did so she can't be too far away. It's just unfortunately the area is dense and thick, and like I say, it's going to take a while to actually track her down, because from that tree I couldn't find any further tracks. Maybe she was just watching me from there, but I didn't see anything. It seemed it was quite open where the tree was, so I would have spotted her if she was around that area. But hopefully we'll get lucky. Rex says he might drop off his tracker and let him walk around there for a bit and just have a bit of a look around. The thing is though, is there's so many of these Nyala around Buffalo's Hook Dam that hopefully if she moves anywhere here, these guys will start barking and alert anyone to the presence, or to her presence, and then we'll be able to then find her. I'll come and check again this afternoon. I think this afternoon this area is going to be an area to pay a lot of attention to, because at the end of the day the lions are not too far. There's leopard tracks here, and there's also going to be a warm day. The sun now is starting to get very hot. It's amazing the temperature difference from this morning to now. And so I'd imagine that will drive a lot of other animals to maybe to go and drink at Buffalo's Hook Dam, maybe some ellies. You never know what's around, so that's kind of going to be the plan. I don't think we're going to have much luck now. It's wherever that leopard is, I'm pretty sure it's sleeping under a bush somewhere. Like I say, the sun all of a sudden has just gotten hot. It's weird. We had this cool morning, the whole morning, where I've been wrapped up in jackets, and now it's just all of a sudden gotten a lot warmer. Don't you think, Wildy? It's definitely all of a sudden feels more like summer and less like winter, which is fantastic news. I suppose it should, because it's 8 o'clock in the morning and it's on late October. It should be quite warm at this time and not as cold as it was this morning. And so VM says a scorcher is coming. Yes, Fildy, I think we're going to be hurt by the sun this afternoon. It's going to be a very hot one. There you go, VM showing you Spike, the sun. So I always call the sun Spike. I don't know why, it's just a thing that came out from when I used to play a lot of cricket, and guys used to refer to the sun as Spike. But I believe it's 19 degrees now, 66 and 19. It feels a lot warmer than 19 in the sun. I suppose obviously temperatures are always taken from the shade. It's what the shade temperature is going to be, not the sun. And it is quite chilly in the shade itself. As soon as we get out into the sun, it's when it starts to get warm, and the direct sunshine is quite hot. No sign of anything along here. I was hoping in one of these big trees to spot a dangling tail of a leopard, but alas, nothing. I wonder when Hosana or Tamba is going to make their way home as well. It would be nice for both of those two boys to come back. I haven't gotten any updates on Hosana. I briefly heard somebody say something about Hosana and Little Gari, but I don't know if it was tracks or actually physically him. But if it's on Little Gari, obviously there's not really much I can do about it anyway. So I'll try and find out after drive what was going on and who was where, and hopefully we can get a better update as to what actually happened during the night with our leopards. Becca, you're asking, I suppose it's more to do with cameramen, but what is the hardest animal to film? Vildy, what is the hardest animal for you to film?
Birds, the swallows.
Swallows for birds, yes. Swallows are a nightmare, Vildy, and I was making you do that yesterday, I'm sorry. So swallows are incredibly fast-flying birds. What about the falcons, Vildy? Are they quite tough, or are they not too... Swallows are worse. Next level, okay. So swifts and swallows probably sounds like the two worst. And what about animals?
Like small stuff that anything
like honey badger.
Honey badgers.
Yeah, so small things that move quickly. So anything that's small is tough. Squirrels, there we go. So Becca, that's what VM is saying. Anything that's small, because he loses it quite quickly in his viewfinder, and then to find focus and those kind of things is much harder than the big animals. So things like lion and leopard and elephant and buffalo are fairly easy, because even if they go behind things, you can still see quite big. All spotted VM. So talking about filming tough things and birds, there is our violet-backed starling that we've been trying to get on camera for a number of days now, and it's got its back to us at the moment, so it's the sort of dark coloration because the sun's not hitting it quite right. So you'll find that will start to kind of shimmer as the sun comes around a little bit with that white chest. I think it's a violet-backed starling. I might be completely wrong actually, but anyway, I'll try and check this out and figure it out. But it sounds like Brent's got far more exciting things happening on his side of the world, and so I think we should get across to him fairly shortly. But we have a delay, so I'm just going to talk until such time as I can say quick link to Brent with Lions Chasing Giraffe.
Well, the Cubs are having a great time. Sorry about that. We had a power failure back at Mara FC. And the Cubs are basically just chasing Giraffe around. The Giraffe aren't too perturbed, but they're just having a very good time doing it. Now, it'd be a very different scenario if there was a young giraffe amongst, but they're all adults, and quite a lot of them big adult males. So no real chance for the little ones to have any success. But that little female has been leading the charge on the giraffe, the pretend giraffe hunt. I'm sure in its head it's like, I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you. Just wait 6 months till I'm a bit bigger. You can see the giraffe are not too perturbed. I think the cub might try again. Are you going to be a famous giraffe hunter when you're older, madam? I'm just going to walk nonchalantly towards the giraffe. They can't see me. I'm invisible. I'm a lion. I'm the best hunter in the whole Mara. Yes, you can't see me, giraffe. I'm going to change my angle a little bit. Am I going to pretend to walk past, or am I going to try to chase you again? Oh, she spotted her brother, but not ignoring him. What a fearsome lion. Oh, there we go. I'm going to now slowly walk closer to the giraffe. And when I charge them, they're going to be so terrified they're going to run away. Danielle, indeed, they have very high ambitions. Lost sight of the lionesses. They're coming through now. They should be. I think that cub is heading back towards the lionesses now. Well, what's this guy off? The other one's stalking. Let's get a bit closer. He's stalking giraffe now, the young male. He was actually trying to chase a hippo a little bit earlier. That's more dangerous than a giraffe. Now let's see, is he going to change his tune, head back towards the safety? No, he's still on the stalk, okay. There's a giraffe that's feeding off a bosque here, so he's decided the giraffe is not watching. So this is a perfect opportunity. There we go. Stalk, 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 stalk. Giraffe can't see me. Well, the one I'm stalking can't. Is he going to pop out? Where is he gone? Has he stopped? Oh no, he's still going. There he is. As I say, there's almost zero chance of success here, but it's good fun for the cubs, I think. Let's see, the giraffe hasn't noticed yet. Oh, game's up, mister. You have been spotted. Let's go a bit closer. Ah, he's been spotted, so he just gave up the stalk. Oh, he's going after a different one. Sorry, Dave. There we go. Joe's wondering, could a kick from one of those giraffe kill the cub? Most definitely. If he's off again. Run, giraffes. I'm the terror of the Mara. Now, he's probably a bit more intimidating than his little sister, just being that much bigger. But as you can see, I think he's a little too small to take on a giraffe all on his own. And you can see that by the giraffe's favour. They'll move out of the way, but they're not particularly worried about this lion. Oh, hello. There's a baby giraffe. I wonder if the lionesses saw that. I don't think so. No, I've lost sight of the lionesses. Now, even that baby giraffe would be too big for him. But with a bit of help, looking back, looking for the help, there is none. You're all on your own, mate. Yes, time to retreat. Some zebra in the background as well. So I think the rest of the pride have gone to sleep in the thickets. Gina says she thinks the giraffe are just laughing at the cubs. Well, I think the cubs are just having a good old time. Now, let's have a look. I can't see the rest of the pride at the moment. I think they've gone to sleep in the thickets, but we're going to stick with this little guy for now. What other mischief is he going to get up to? He's trying to decide what to do next. Yes, return. Jason's wondering, do I think a giraffe could ever attack a person? Any animal can attack a person if you corner them, even a tiny little mouse. So it is possible, but it's highly unlikely. They would generally try and move away rather than get involved in a ruckus. Also, it'd be a very silly person to corner a giraffe. It's a bit bigger than us. Okay, let's go around. I can see the male in between those two bushes there. So he's been following. You see where I'm looking? Okay. A little bit to the left. All right, stop. Back. There. There's the male slowly following from behind. Okay, let's move around and see if we can catch up with the rest of the pride. Jason's wondering, would giraffe help each other if they were really attacked by a lion? A female will defend her young, but the other giraffe, if it's not their baby, they'll probably move away. Oh, hello, hippo. Now he's going to dash back down into the... Oh, he's just gone behind. Oh, no, he's going to pop out now. Hello, shy hippo. Back into the water. There we go. Home safe and sound. We apologise. Apparently there is a little bit of breakup happening. We do apologise for that. We are live from the African bush, so sometimes these things do happen. Let's see if we can catch up. Oh, Lioness is up again. Oh, turn it around. It's all happening down here next to the Mara River. Sun is out. I'm feeling a lot chirpier now that it's a bit warmer. So there's the little male heading back towards the females. There's one of the females there. And they're disappearing into the thicket. So I'm going to try and get close to that thicket. While we do that, let's go see what Jamie's doing a little bit to the north of us.
I'm bumbling about a little bit to the north of Brent. Just prettiness of the morning and the antelope all around us. Little piglets everywhere, so I'm just enjoying the morning, really. We'll stop and have a look at these sleepy Topis. Morning for a bachelor herd, because it's now, at this point, you don't find a group of, or a herd of with females without babies around. So I suspect that this is a group of boys, separate from the main herd. The wind is now howling, absolutely howling. A good time for them to sit, and you can see the majority of them sitting with their bottoms almost facing the same direction. And the reason that they're doing that is because it's the wind howling in their faces that they don't really enjoy. But I love watching Topi sleep. Look at that one. Gunk. Head first. Resting on its nose. How many of us have fallen asleep like that at a desk or something like that while we're busy working? I've fallen asleep like that on the steering wheel as well. They're peculiar antelope. They really are. Nose first. This one's ruminating. And of course, sitting and ruminating like this, research has shown that their brain waves are very similar to that of sleep brain waves. So when they sit and they ruminate like this, it's their way of getting rest and their body recovering, because they don't... Long patches of sleep like we get as humans, not really possible for an antelope. It's just far too dangerous to pass out. You do see them asleep, but they definitely don't sleep for as long as long as we do. Oh, big stretch. Unach, the antelope use their horns, yes, to defend themselves against predators. Someone got an itchy nose. But also, very much importantly, and just as important, is the use of their horns, particularly, obviously, just with the males, when they're fighting for access to a female. So those horns are weapons for defense. They're also weapons for attack. And they fight by butting heads, and you'll see it with all the different species of antelope. The males fight by clashing horns. And that whole distinction is why, in certain antelope species, like the Topi, both the males and the females have horns because they live out in the open, whereas a kudu or a Nyala, like the one you saw with Tristan, only the males have horns because the females actually, rather than trying to fight to defend themselves, hide away in dense vegetation. So there's a very strong correlation between the habitat that the animals live in and whether or not the females have horns. The males always do because they have to use them to compete for access to the females. It's a bit more complex than that, and there's more to it, but that is one of the reasons. Oh, the flies are biting today. Off runs the Topi. Okay, well, our antelope seem to be having a very snoozy morning. Let's go and find out whether Brent's male lion is doing something similar.
Yes, well, they've all now decided that the sun is out, it's time to snooze. So the big male is probably about 50 or 60 meters away from the rest of the pride, who are flat in a thicket and nearly invisible. He's almost invisible, except if you look at him from the other side of the bush. From this side of the bush, we can just see him having a snooze. Well, these lions have kept us thoroughly entertained this morning, so are we going to let them enjoy their sleep? And I'm going to keep moving to see what else is out and about in the sunny but very windy Masai Mara today. Very happy the rain is gone. Okay, bye, lions. So he's sleeping under the single bush. The rest of the pride are right in the core of that thicket over there where we can barely see them. So it's warming up, even though the wind's blowing quite strongly still. There were some zebra and stuff around here, but I think they've all seen the lions, and they've decided today is possibly not the day to cross the Mara River. Crocodiles and lions has got to be bad for your health if you're a striped donkey. Giraffe have all relaxed, seeing the lions go flat. Well, I'm going to wander about. While we do that, let's go see how Tristan's tracking is going.
Well, we're not doing too much tracking, Brent. Now we're just doing a little exploratory mission, a quick check to see. I don't know if we're going to have any luck whatsoever, but we're going to try anyway, just to have a little look at and see if we can find something special for you somewhere in this general vicinity. But I don't think there's anybody even here, but apparently there was a leopard that crossed here somewhere, and so I'm just having a look. It's nothing, especially one has gone. There will be some sort of sign from the side we can still drive. So I'm just going to look here. It was from somewhere in this general vicinity, and there was a termite mound. Now I see the termite mound over there, and I can hear the squirrel alarm calling. So Vildi, let's have a look if we can see. I'm just trying to see from forwards. Let's have a look. Squirrel, no, the termite mound's not really visible that well from up here. I thought it would be better from up here, but it's actually going to be better from down below. So let's have a look if we can actually get some sort of a view and see if there is actually a leopard still on that termite mound or not. Now there's one termite mound close to us with lots of sticks on it, so we're going to just do a quick scan of that termite mound first and see if maybe there is a leopard somewhere sitting on there. I don't know if there will be, and we're going to try and have a look. No, nothing there. Leopard is obviously not far away. The squirrels are going crazy, there's a couple birds, so we just got to kind of scan around and maybe we'll get lucky and see something. I don't see anything right now, but it apparently is Kuchava that was around here, and she was just seen very quickly. Now there's a couple of spider webs, let me get rid of those quickly. And so I don't know if maybe she's going to be sitting on one of these mounds somewhere in this general vicinity. I'm just going to scan around and have a little look. Obviously the best way to do that is with binoculars and have a little look, but there's 1, 2, and then there's a couple other termite mounds just scattered around here that might still have some sort of sign, or she could have dropped down into the riverbed itself, in which case, well, we're not going to see very much at all, because unfortunately, like I said, this is Torchwood, and well, it wasn't far from where we were, so we just took an off chance that she might still be visible. Everybody else has kind of gone back to their lodges now, so it's difficult because nobody's still with her that can give us a better idea of exactly where she was sitting and which mound we're talking about, because like I said, there's one far away and there's one closer to us, and then there's a whole bunch of others as well. But I want to just go back a little bit further and just check. There is one other mound. Can I keep going there, Liam? Are we good? Are we good? So no, the view from all over here is not very good. I'm just trying to see where the squirrel is as well that's making all the noise, because maybe that squirrel can give us an idea of exactly where she is right now and which mound we're talking about. I would imagine it's a mound with lots of shade, because the sun is quite hot now, and so I would imagine she would have had a sort of situation where she would have gone and lay somewhere where it's nice and shady and really looks a lot better. So I'm going to just turn around and then double check again, but this is definitely where she crossed. You can see all the vehicle tracks that have turned here and looked around here, so I want to head up a little bit the hill, and then I'm going to turn around and then come back in this direction and have a look. Natural, you're saying, I think I heard it right, is that we hopefully will find a leopard in this area, and well, I hope so too. It's difficult though. It's unfortunately our hands are tied in that we 10 minutes to find a leopard. Yes, well, hopefully we will. It's just difficult because our hands are tied, because we can't traverse here, so we can't go to where the squirrel is alarm calling. So I'm relying on just trying to kind of scan from the boundary and then use the power of our kind of camera to be able to zoom in far enough to actually see. And so that's why I'm just doing a little kind of turn around here. I'm going to just do this little loop, and just because it's fun and we can do a roundabout. It's been a long time since I've been on a roundabout, traffic circle, whatever you want to call it, but here we go, because the kid in us wants to just do a little circle with our vehicles, and so there we go, and around the corner we go, and back onto this side again. What a wonderful way to spend a morning. Right, now I was thinking from here we might get a better view of what's going on, but it's still kind of dense and very sort of thick, and I don't think we're going to get a view on any of these mounds like I was hoping for, because I was hoping that we'd be able to see down on top from this angle, but it seems as though it's just too thick, too dense for us to spot any leopard from here. So I think unfortunately this is not going to be a mission that's going to be sustainable or is going to work in our favor. Glenda, who's a new viewer, welcome Glenda, and you're asking how do termites grow their mound. Well, Glenda, it's a very, very interesting process. Basically what happens with these termites is they excavate down under the ground and they form these tunnels and chambers, and then from there they basically take particles of soil from above, or below ground should I say, let me put that in gear quickly, and they take particles of soil, they bring it up to the surface, they mix it with their saliva and their fecal pellets, and that forms basically like a cement, and then they pack it on. And so thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of termites doing that overnight generally, because during the day they get picked off by predators too much, and it's a lot hotter and they lack color pigments, and so the sun really affects them, and so they build at night, and you'll find then that they build these kind of constructions, and all these termites adding little particles of soil. Slowly but surely the termite mound then grows, and then the sun bakes it hard, and it then becomes hard enough for things like elephants to even stand on top of it. So it's an incredible system, and it really is a worthwhile way of kind of building, and they form such a huge part of our environment, particularly here. They make a lot of mounds, which is homes for multitude of animals. We've got hyenas, warthogs, lion, leopard, all kinds of things that build inside of these mounds, and so they really are hugely important for our ecosystem. But the squirrel has now gone quiet, so I wonder if maybe this leopard is not down and moving off further deeper into Torchwood. It was, like I say, it was a proper gamble to try and come and see if there wasn't something lurking around here, and unfortunately I think we've just missed it, and that's the way the cookie crumbles, so to speak. I don't see any other termite mounds that she could possibly be on, to be honest. What about that one right in the distance there, Vildy? The one at the back top, maybe with the camera. Did we check that one? That one there. Nothing on top there. No leopard sitting up there either. So there we go. We've checked the mounds that I can see within camera shot, and no sign of a leopard on them. So we're going to leave it there and carry on. And this afternoon we'll get lucky and she'll come back towards Chitwa, and we'll actually be. There's nobody found herself. They just, as she was it means that unfortunately and get to this area quick enough to be able to see her. But like I say, it's the way it goes. Some days it works for us, some days it works against us. This morning has been one of those where things have gone away from us and off onto other properties, and maybe tomorrow is a day where everything does come. That's just how it. Let's pull over and be nice to the small car that can't go into the bush. There we go. Good morning. So that's somebody to pick up guests that are probably departing given the time of the day that he's coming in. So maybe they're going back home or onto their next safari destination, or Cape Town, or wherever it is. So some people fly in like we saw yesterday afternoon, and others drive in with a transfer vehicle. And we are on the main road, of course, so it means that it is a busy road, and it's also why leopards generally don't hang around on these roads. They kind of get onto it, and because of the amount of traffic and all kinds of other things that are on here, because of deliveries and transfers and guys getting back and forth to lodges, generally find the cats will push away from these roads. They start off on it early in the morning, and then they go off and try and go and lie somewhere else where they don't have to be kind of sort of harassed, if you want to call it. Or that's not harassed, it's probably the wrong word, but they don't have to have as much attention and as much noise around them as they would if they just stayed close to the road. So it's quite common to see them kind of early morning, late evening on these roads, and then they push off towards the sort of middle parts of the day. Myself and VM are going to head home. We haven't had much luck this morning, but we're going to try again later. We had a great hyena sighting, but let's go across to Jamie so she can say goodbye to all of you. Apparently I forgot also that there's a delay, and so I should just carry on talking for the 10. I don't know why I forgot it's that time of the morning, but let's go back to Jamie.
I really wanted to find you an animal for the last few minutes of the sunrise safari, but I can't. I haven't had any luck. I'm really sorry. We were going to finish off with a nice animal, but breakfast is calling my name. I can hear it. Can you hear it there, Seb? It's going, Jamie! Jamie! Come back, Jamie! And we can smell it. We can't actually smell it, but it would be great. Right, so as we continue on up the hill, Becca, you want to know what female animals have the option of deciding which male they mate with. Birds is a really good example. Birds, the males have to work quite hard to attract the females. We think about weavers. We've been talking a lot this week about weavers' nests. And if that male weaver does not build that nest up to scratch, that female rejects it completely. It's quite heartbreaking to watch sometimes after all that work. To a degree, a lot of the animals that we see do have an option of avoiding the male initially. It's not really that they're choosing which male to mate with. It's a natural instinct as they start to go into estrus or into heat that basically tells them to move away from the male and to reject his advances initially, just in case somebody bigger and better comes along. So I don't know if that's really so much a choice as just a natural play out of instinct. Lions, leopards, there really isn't that much in the way of options. Their instinct tells them to flirt heavily with the males that just happen to be around them, and they'll mate with as many males as possible because that makes sense. They're going to try and convince everyone that they're the father, and there's no quick and easy paternity test. Elephants don't really have the option, a must, although they will show a preference for males in must, but that's a hormonal thing. It's a testosterone thing. Snakes, maybe, although snakes fight a lot over females and mating rights. I think birds are probably the females that have the most choice in whether or not they decide to mate. Alright, and so concludes the sunrise safari as we power our way up the hill. It's time to do our farewells and our thank you. So big thank you to Seb, who's been on camera with me. Thank you very much, Seb. And to our team in South Africa, to Megan in the director's chair, to Faith in the director's chair in the Mara. And of course, the biggest thank you as always goes to all of you. We always enjoy sharing the magic of these different wilderness areas with people across the globe. So we will see you on the Sunset Safari in a few short hours. Bye-bye, everyone.